want to send me back. But God says that the cries of them people have come up to me day and night. I've seen their oppression, Moses. I've gotten to the point where I can't stand it no more. I got to come down and I got to do something. And I want you to help me, Moses, because they're hurting me. It's called the power of petition. You have to understand, and I want somebody to write this down, that when James, in the book of James, talked about the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous, people thought that all they needed to do was quote a prayer, sound like they were praying. But I want you to know it's a difference between getting God's ear and getting his heart. I can put on one of those preaching kind of prayers, but I don't want to just get to his ear. I got to get to his heart. The Israelites touched his heart. Oh, I wish there was a witness in the house. Let me tell you something about the effectual fervent prayer. Effectual fervent prayer is born out of grief. You can't pray fervently if you ain't hurting. I ain't getting no amens in here. You can't have no fervent prayer if you ain't loving nobody, if you ain't caring about nobody, if ain't nobody reaching you and messing with your heart. You can't talk to God. Prayer deals with the power of petition. Don't let anybody tell you that the power of petition is not strong. But you have to understand that it creates a posture and an attitude that is born out of grief. I can't demand you pray. You got to want something. You got to be hurting to get his ear. And you got to be hurting even more to get his heart. God will step over that prayer and get to that one that's causing him a problem in his chest cavity. He will step past that one that's tickling his ear, and he will step down because the ear tickle ain't bad. But I got to do something about this prayer that's hitting me in my chest. He said to Moses, I got to go, man. Woo. See, the problem with most of us is fear. Learned behavior. I'm talking to somebody. Let me explain it. The only time you come to God with that kind of prayer is when you have been convinced that there is something in your life that you can't handle. If you think you can handle it, you ain't going to pray about it. I ain't getting no amens in here. That's why you don't call people and tell them to pray for you and they don't even care. They trying to put on some kind of mock ear tickling prayer. No, man, are you feeling me? Let me look in your eyes. Do I bring tears to your eyes? Is the thing I'm going through hurting you? Do I keep you up at night with the thing? Because if it ain't touching you like that, I'm going to find somebody else. No, Moses didn't like taking those hits no more than I do. We just can't help ourselves. You think if I could walk, I wouldn't walk, I'd be gone. I'm going to say it again. If I could walk the way I catch it sometimes, I'd be gone. But I can't go nowhere. May as well keep preaching. May as well keep crying to God. May as well keep hitting him in the place where it counts. That's why I'm saying, and I'm going to get back to my point because it's important. Talking to somebody. That's why I'm saying we got to be careful that we don't rise ourselves up so much religiously that we get between the sick man and the cross. You don't ever want nobody to have to get by you to make contact with the blood. Oh, come on up in here. I don't care how bad you think they are. You ain't got no right to get between me and the blood. So hear this part. Hear this. This is for everybody. When we cry out to God in prayer, it is because we've been convinced there is something in our lives that we can't handle. If we thought we could handle it, we wouldn't be crying out in prayer about it. But here's the problem. The same thing that has conditioned me into thinking that I can't get past this obstacle gets in the way when God delivers my answer. They had been crying out to God for centuries. He answers the prayer. He sets them up to be delivered. And that same spirit that told them that they couldn't turned them around to the point where they fought against the very thing they had been asking God to do. And the closer the blessing got, the more they fought, because that doubt, that inbred doubt raised up in them and reminded them you couldn't yesterday and you couldn't last week and you didn't have no luck last month. Why are you thinking about you going to make it now? And that's when you got to rise up and say, today, not today. Oh, no, not today. I know what you did to me yesterday, and I know how you've been dragging me month after month, year after year. But today, I'm trusting God. I ain't worrying about that person or that person. Today, oh, no, you devil, not. Not today. Have you ever been in a position where when your blessing starts to show up, you start getting nervous? Nobody gonna tell the truth in here. And you see the blessing coming up on you. And all of a sudden your brow starts to sweat. And that whole spirit that has oppressed you, that whole thing that has oppressed you and kept you down rises up and says, I know you ain't believing that. And you start coming up with all the darndest reasons. There wasn't enough graves in Egypt. You must have forgot. Remember we told you Moses? No. Moses say, nah, I ain't got the best memory. But I don't remember none of y'all telling me no. You should have left us. We told you we wanted to continue to serve the Egyptians. We told you that we wanted to stay in bondage. You must have forgotten. But what I like about Moses is he took a deep breath. He didn't lay down and die. He did not say, if y'all ain't going, I'm going by myself. Because that was not his assignment. His assignment was not to leave anybody. I ain't getting no amens, but that's all right. God had hooked him to the people because it was God that was going to get the glory at the end of the day. And this is not just about Moses, and it ain't just about me. There are a lot of folks that have gone through what Moses went through. How about Jesus? Father, if it be possible, could you take this thing off of me? And I could hear God saying to Jesus, what? Not today. You have come down through 14 or 42 generations. You beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. You came out of the womb of a virgin who had to beat the devil just so that you might be delivered. And you standing up here telling me what? No. Oh, no. And his argument must have been pretty good. Because Jesus said, just forget it. Now, in order for him to say that, he has to say to that spirit of fear, you know what? Oh, no. Not today. Not today. There are so many folk in the church who I know have anointings upon their lives, who I know that the spirit of poverty wants to keep his thumb on you. Let me explain prosperity. It ain't just about the money in your pocket. It's about the peace in your mind. Oh, you ain't getting up in here. It's about your ability to kick doors in and know when you kick it in, God's going to back you up. Prosperity says you don't care what your enemy is doing. He ain't getting from you what God has given you.